Thank you so much, Bill, my former TV husband. I was a very lucky lady for 3 years with Bill. And thank you to Variety, and thank you to Lifetime Television. You know, it is largely due to Lifetime TV that I am standing here before you today. You see, it was 13 years ago that I was sitting at home in Baltimore, Maryland, an unhappy lawyer in possession of a newly minted resume tape with dreams of breaking into broadcasting. But I had no connections in news, I had never worked in news, and I wasn't feeling optimistic about my chances of finding a job in news. And then I turned on Lifetime TV one day, and they were airing the Jessica Savage story. Do you remember Jessica Savage? Jessica was the golden girl of television news back in the late 70s and the 1980s. She broke into the business at a time when it was almost entirely a man's industry, and she rose to become one of the most respected journalists in the country. I found her story so inspiring, and I thought to myself, if she could do it then, I can do it now. Later, she developed a drug habit and had an on-air meltdown and actually died at a very young age in a terrible car crash, which was less inspiring. But that day, I put down the remote control, and I picked up the telephone, and I started cold calling news directors, one of whom gave me my very first TV job. So again, Lifetime, thank you very much. And thank you to Bill Lord, who is the news director at WJLA, who gave me that job, and to Roger Ailes, who 9 months later took a major chance on me and put me on national television. And that has provided all the opportunity a young reporter could ever ask for. I'm honored to be here today to talk about the beautiful charity Child Help. It's founded by two angels who walk this earth under the names Sarah O'Mara and Yvonne Feddersen. Child Help is devoted to helping abused, neglected, and at-risk children. Now, Sarah and Yvonne were child actresses, stars of Ozzie and Harriet back in the 1950s. They played the girlfriends. But instead of spending their lives on the screen, they spent them helping and saving some 9 million children. 5 children die every day from abuse and neglect. More than 70% are under the age of 2. Under the age of 2. More than 80% are not yet in kindergarten. Think about that. Our babies are dying, not because of disease or warfare, but because of anger or apathy or other conscious decisions made by their very own caregivers. Every 10 seconds in this country, a report of abuse is made. So since I just began speaking today, that's nearly 20 cases reported. That's just the ones reported. And it is so daunting that you almost want to look away. But you cannot. We cannot. Child Help is brave. Yvonne and Sarah are brave. They do not look away. They intervene to prevent the abuse through in-school education programs, trying to show kids what abuse is and how to stop it, what to do if it's happening to them. To stop the abuse with their 24/7 national hotline, 1-800-4-CHILD, staffed by professional crisis counselors, most of whom have master's degrees and can provide help in 170 languages. To heal the wounds of abuse with recovery centers known as villages, where the most severely abused and neglected children go for love and counseling. They get art therapy, they get animal therapy, and they begin their journey to wellness. But it takes money to help those children, which is where we come in. Imagine being the one whose donation helps a child out of an abusive home and into a facility that greets every boy and girl with the words, "All who enter here will find love." I've been thinking a lot lately about love and support and how critical they are to our happiness, including my own this past year. 2 days ago, Katie Couric asked me what I have learned since that very first presidential debate last August. And here is my answer. Fearlessness is false. Adversity is an opportunity. And John Denver had all the answers. In the wake of the dust-up between yours truly and Donald Trump, has anyone here heard of that? Follow that at all? Some have used that word fearless about me. and it's wrong. I am not fearless, nor do I know any fearless people. This seems to be a new standard, a new goal that we are setting for people. Go forth unafraid. You go forth unafraid. I'm scared about a lot, often. Fear is normal. The goal is not to get rid of it. The goal is to walk through it. Courage is what we need. Courage. If you can muster courage in the face of fear, you become more confident. You become tougher. Vanity Fair called me the toughest anchor at Fox. Okay, I'm tough. But I cry, I worry, I have fear, I have self-doubt, I have insecurities, I have cellulite. What? I don't want to lose or fail or embarrass myself any more than the next gal. But I am willing to take the risk of doing all that and more for the chance to make my life sing, to make it sing. I took a risk when I left my law career for a TV job that paid next to nothing. When I left my first marriage to a kind and decent man who I realized I was simply not meant to be with. And when I asked a debate question I knew a presidential candidate might not like. The risk there did in fact materialize, and then some. But even when you smack headfirst into a downside of a risk, you're also eye to eye with opportunity. How will you deal with adversity? Will you allow it to change you, to cow you? Or will you stand strong and prove something to yourself about who you are? And maybe prove something to those around you about what a woman's power really is. It isn't a big job or a big microphone. It's dignity, courage, it's principle, independence. It is showing, not telling the world, that we women are a force to be reckoned with. They can dismiss us and call us names, and they do. But truth drowns out the unmoored lie. So we should not demand fearlessness, no. We need fear to find our courage, and we need to celebrate, not stifle, the beauty and importance of our emotions and heart and fire. When I was in high school, my dad died suddenly of a heart attack. But for 15 years I had him. And he used to regale us with his guitar and John Denver songs. One of his favorites back then, and mine now, was the song Today. The lyrics remind me of how I want to live each day, and how I want my 3 children to live, and how I hope you will live too. The last verse concludes, "Today is my moment. Now is my story. I'll laugh, and I'll cry, and I'll sing." Thank you so much.